Yo, this is Voltage and you're locked into the Low Frequency Show on Radio Reaction.
Fairly new to the scene. How are you introduced to drum and bass, and how did you, when was the first time when you actively engaged with the music, like started producing
on a
or
producing thing?
Either producing or DJing.
Okay, so I started DJing probably about 1994 when I was like 13, 14. Like I used to help out in one of the record shops with Toby Scopes from Serial Killers and Donovan Bad Boy Smith and Lee from Metalheads. So I got into the music like very early. Just used to like help out on a Saturday there, and like, yeah, it's good, man. Like, didn't start producing until 2008. Yeah, like 2008 I started producing, so
and although you're very young and fresh looking,
yeah,
you've got a lot of releases behind your back, like Ram, Players, CIA, Shogun, Sparehead, and the list goes on and on.
I'm collecting them all.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound too narrow-minded
no.
by saying you're a jumper producer, but it seems as if you can easily shift from one style to another, and everything you do, it just sounds good, you know? And,
thank you.
What influenced you, and what are the other artists that inspire you?
I do a lot of sampling. So, you know, I sample from. I'm quite into sampling from like jazz and hip hop and progressive rock, krautrock, and Tangerine Jean, Can, Amon Doll. Do you know what I mean? Like really obscure stuff. A lot of like, you know, Miles Davis and Pat Feeney, and you know what I mean. Just like, I'm really big into, like, if you listen through the tracks, you will always hear like some jazz samples or something dotted about there. You know what I mean? Bob James, like, you sample a lot of Bob James. Yeah. So.
You always manage to bring this emotionally charged vibe, this stripped down old school vibe in your tunes.
Yeah.
Do you produce on analog or do you use software? Yeah,
I've got a lot of analog. Use like Valve equipment and Moog synths and a Virus, and yeah, I've got quite a lot of analog gear. Used to have quite a few analog keyboards and stuff, but I sold them. Yeah, like, I just prefer the sound. You know, I use a Valve mixing desk. I just prefer the rawness of it, and I don't really like the music to be too bright. You know, like, for me, I think drum and bass should be more about the bass. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, more bass driven, and like, whereas for me, a lot of the tunes in the past, maybe 4 or 5 years, I kind of lost that rich, fat warmness on the bottom, and got really like bright and toppy. Do you know what I mean? Like, almost like made for phones. Do you know what I mean? Where they sound really good on phones. Like, people can walk down the street and listen to them because you can hear all the synths and stuff. Whereas, you know, proper deep rolling drum and bass, you can't hear that on a phone. You just hear the drums. Do you know what I mean? You have to feel that shit. So, yeah, that's kind of like why I went down that analog route, because of the depth and things like that.
Okay, and between now and then, what other differences do you find in drum and bass apart from the method of producing?
I don't know. Like, there's the music's definitely changing now. I mean, like, I'm predominantly. I don't like to put myself in brackets, but predominantly, I think, you know, I do a lot in the jump up side of things, and it's definitely changing there. Definitely. So a lot of people are using more live sounding drums, going back to the breaks, you know, writing melodies again with, you know, tunes that you can actually sing along to, and, you know, riffs, solid riffs, you know, like, whereas maybe 2 or 3 years ago, people were just making a lot of tunes that are just like random noises, do you know what I mean, like bouncing off each other. There's no riff, there's no melodies, no catchiness to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of it, you know. It's like, if it's well produced and it's filth, then yeah, like you can't not like it, but I think it's better now that it's getting back to more like the Bristol style of drum and bass, full cycle, Dope Dragon, Philly Blunt, you know what I mean? That the V stuff, I think that that kind of vibe, what me, Serum and Blade Runner have pushed for like the past 5 or 6 years, it's kind of creeping into other people's productions now, so it's good.
You mentioned Serum and Blade, and you have this joint project with them.
Yeah.
It was called King of the Breaks.
Yeah, Kings of the Rollers.
Yeah, King of the Rollers. And what can you tell me about it?
So, what we've kind of decided to do is we all kind of like have the same kind of vibe, you know. Maybe not DJ wise, but like just musically. Do you know what I mean? And selection, you know, kind of. So it was like, right, we everybody knows what we do on our own. Yeah. Everybody knows what, you know, there's Serum and Voltage, there's Blade Runner and Serum, do you know what I mean? Like, everybody knows what we do on our own and collectively. So it was like, right, let's just put all this together and make it about something that is a lot bigger than what we all do. Yeah. You know, let's try and like, and just make it about this sound, what we have pushed for so long, where we've kind of stuck to our guns. Now that it's at the forefront of things, it's like, right, let's just give it to people now. Do you know what I mean? What they want. So, you know, 2-3 hour DJ sets, you know, like real bass heavy, like rollers.
Yeah, and is it just about DJ sets?
Just about the DJing, just about the DJing. Like, I think we're all quite busy with our own like musical like production stuff, without adding like that as we might do, like we might all three of us get in the studio like now and then and just make a couple of tracks, you know, but I think predominantly this is more about a DJ set that can be taken to clubs and like, you know, nobody can play this set, do you know what I mean? Like, because we have so much exclusive music between the three of us, like we could probably play all night, do you know what I mean? And of that style as well, so it's something, you know, kind of like, I suppose again going back to like the Bristol thing, like False, like Ronnie and them did, you know, they kind of had it locked in the 90s where no one could do what they were doing, no one could play the tunes they were playing, you know, like Brian G and Frost, they could still turn up now and play a 2-3 hour set of unreleased V music and just tear a club to pieces, do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I see it on that kind of like outlook really.
Let's talk about your own label, Natty Dub. What pushed you towards launching your own imprint, and how do you find it different from what's out there?
I actually don't run Natty Dub anymore. I sold it. Now I sold it like 2 years ago to the guy who I used to work with in Cabin Fever. Kind of just, I didn't have time to put the energy into the label. But when I started the label in like 2011, that was again purely because I was making so much music of that kind of like Bristol sound, and people weren't putting that music out then. You know, the odd tune here and there, but because people weren't putting it out, I had so much of it. It was like people were taking my other stuff. I was just like, well, I need somewhere to put this out. You know, people weren't signing, but it was only after maybe 3 or 4 releases, people were like, oh, like, I haven't heard that style of drum and bass for a while, do you know what I mean? So it kind of picked up speed really good. And then it kind of went dormant for a bit while I was in, like coming out of Cabin Fever and then establishing Voltage as a solo brand. And I just said to like the guy, I said, if you want to buy it, like I'll sell you the label, you know, like, and he's done a wicked job of it, I've got to say, like the label's like amazing now, like it's a really good label, strong.
Yeah. Are there any labels that you haven't signed on yet? But
Hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah, Hospital. Definitely, that's my next target. That's my next target.
Was the first answer. And finally, can you give me 3 tracks that you spin at the moment?
Yes. Serum ESP. That's big. Loads of Serum stuff actually. What else do I really like at the minute? The Spy remix of 10 Walls. That's really good. Really good. It's not coming out either. So
Yeah.
yeah. What else do I like? TI and Upgrade Shot Down. Big tune. It's probably one of the biggest tunes of the year. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you for the interview.
Mate, not a problem.
Do you want to make any shout outs?
Just shout out to everyone who's buying and supporting the music.
Okay. That was Serum for Bass Block Bulgaria.